And today you may have learned that it's eggplant, right? So some of you may not have gotten eggplant in your basket yet, but you will. Some of you may have already gotten it and you're a little unsure. Do I have any of folks in the latter group with me today? Yeah, I see some nods. Okay. How do we feel about eggplant? Who loves eggplant in the room? Oh, all right. Who hates eggplant in the room? Okay, no, that's good. All right, so maybe I can change some minds today. A lot of people, when they think of eggplant, they think of maybe fried eggplant, eggplant parmesan, but maybe don't really know what else to do with the eggplant. I'm thinking I probably have some folks like that today. So fun facts about eggplant. Do y'all know how it got its name? No? So eggplants originally looked like this, okay, but smaller, and they were shaped like eggs. So the reason why they're called eggplant is for that reason. And you can still find white eggplants around the area. I got this at the farmer's market. They usually don't come small and white, though. You will also see small green eggplants, small orange eggplants. They're beautiful. Those tend to be maybe a little bit more bitter than some of these varieties that are going to be known as Asian eggplants. And these are readily available at your farmer's market. You can see that I do have a variety of different colors to show you today. These are all available locally. Okay? They're really pretty, you know? I mean, it's not just what you see at the grocery store, which is typically going to be this globe-style eggplant. I will say that the eggplants that are typically available at the grocery store might have been sitting around for quite a while. And that's where sometimes that bitter quality can come into play. If you get an eggplant that is fresh picked in your CSA basket or from the farmer's market, it's not going to have as much of a bitter quality than you might expect. So give them a chance, okay? They can actually be quite sweet. We were doing a little recipe test yesterday with the recipes I'm going to prepare for you today. And one of the women there was surprised. She's like, I really am getting kind of like a sweet candy quality from this eggplant. And she was pretty shocked. So as far as nutrition with eggplant, one medium eggplant, which is basically what this is, the whole eggplant runs at about 110 calories. And it's for that reason, it can be a low-carb, low-cal vegetable. It's a non-starchy vegetable, which is the kind of vegetables that we all need to get more of, right? You fill half your plate with these non-starchy vegetables. They're a great source of fiber, and really not much else in the vitamin department, okay? This is going to be more of a vehicle for other things, okay? But this whole eggplant will give you about 16 grams of fiber, which is most of the fiber that we need for the day. So if you can find a way where you're going to eat a whole eggplant for your meal, you're going to be doing a good job, okay? It's a member of the potato family. It's also related to tomatoes. It's got a lot of different names worldwide, but in this country, we usually call it eggplant. Sometimes you'll see it referred to as aubergine, okay? And as I mentioned, there are a lot of different varieties. They can go from this dark purple to this mauve to this striated to white to green and to orange. But it's definitely one of the most common vegetables throughout the world. It's in a host of cultures, from England to India to the Middle East to Italy to America. You'll see it in lots of different dishes. Now, there is a long-standing controversy about eggplants. You probably didn't think that they were controversial. And you'll see me looking at the bottom of these eggplants. Now, the reason why is because if you start to hang out with maybe some little old Italian ladies like my grandma was, she might be looking at these in the store trying to figure out which one she's going to choose, okay? And it may be an old wives' tale, but there are male and female eggplants, okay? And this folk wisdom says that if the eggplant has a round dimple, like this one here, I don't know if y'all can see it, at the end, versus a kind of slash or oval dimple, that means that the round dimple, which might have more seeds and be less meaty, is the female eggplant. And the one with the slash is the male eggplant. So I don't know who came up with this philosophy, but apparently the female eggplants are more bitter. I don't know if that's necessarily true, okay? But I'm just going to throw that out there. You guys can sort of experiment and see what you think. But if you see someone checking out the eggplants, that's why, okay? I will say that with eggplants that are this fresh and that have just been picked, again, that bitterness is really not going to be a quality to worry about, okay? So just a little, information that you can impress people at your next cocktail party with. You do, when you are choosing your eggplants, want to choose smaller eggplant, all right? Even though it may seem like a great bargain to get the big, giant eggplant, that's really where that bitterness quality can come in, and the skin can get a little bit tough as well. So try to choose smaller eggplants. That means that they're younger. You want it to be firm, and you want it to be smooth-skinned with no soft spots. You also want it to feel heavy for its size, okay? That means it's not dried out and kind of like leathery a little bit. If the flesh bounces back just slightly when you press it, then it's ripe. If the indentation remains when you squeeze it, then it's a little overripe and it's going to be a little bit mushy, all right? Now you can mitigate that somewhat with some food preparation methods, which I'm going to mention in a minute, but generally you want to stick to those sort of criteria that I just mentioned. You want to make sure it's not dry. So if you do this and it sounds like a melon, you don't want it, and put it back, okay? Now I can tell you that the ones in your market baskets or your CSA baskets are not gonna have these qualities. So this is mainly if you are getting your eggplant from the grocery store, which you might in the winter months. They are available year-round from somewhere, okay? But they're generally in season here in Kentucky around this time of year, July and August, and you'll see them into September as well. They are quite perishable, and they can get more bitter as they age. They should be stored in a cool, dry spot and used, if you can, within 3 days of purchase. Okay? If you're going to use it right away, later that day, then you can store it on the counter. And if you're not going to use it until like day 2, then you can go on and put it in the refrigerator where it will last just fine in a plastic bag. Okay? But don't forget about it because it doesn't like super cold temperatures. So keep it in the front of your refrigerator if you can. You'll notice also that they are really sensitive to ethylene. So if you know that there are some vegetables that maybe give off a lot of ethylene, like apples, for example, you wouldn't want to store it next to that, okay? They also brown quickly after you cut them, so try not to cut them until right before you use them. And you wouldn't want to can eggplant for any sort of long-term storage. It doesn't really behave well with that. You can freeze it once you cook it, and that will be just fine.